I don't know how good the lighting is going to be because the sun's like right here and I can't tell if it's flushing me out or what. But anyway, for the past week or week and a half, I have felt so flowy with life and with my surroundings. In fact, today when I was in the coffee shop, even just sitting in that chair, I felt like so just free and light, and it felt like I was just, in a way, high on life. Not that I have a history with like substances or anything like that, but it genuinely just felt like I was on that level. I want to just stay in this state. We're supposed to just be in flow all the time like this. But even the word supposed to feel like this, that still feels forceful when I say supposed to. But I feel that our natural state is supposed to be this. All I've done differently for the past week was I took a break from caffeine, or at least just straight up coffee, like iced coffee. I really wanted to take a break from artificial energy, and I wanted to generate my own feel-good energy because I know that's inside, right? So something just told me to take a break from it. I also haven't been listening to the type of music that I normally listen to. And it's not like it's a specific genre of music, it's just different types of music where I mainly just like to dance to it. But the lyrics can seem like pretty aggressive or depressing. And I did talk about this in my last video, where it's not like I'm trying to be mean towards the artists who make this music, but it's more so about the fact that the type of foods that we just naturally eat, or the music that we constantly have on in the background, or the people that we always seem to be hanging around, but we're not really being conscious towards how all that stuff is affecting us. All I've been doing differently is took a break from caffeine. I've been eating so much fruit. And it's like the fresh organic fruit that around here, it's like the best fruit is at the more expensive grocery stores. So I went there and I bought amazing watermelon, avocado, mangoes, and I've been eating that so much. And I just feel lighter, and I don't mean that in a weight loss type of thing, but just I don't feel lethargic, and I don't feel like I'm dragging myself everywhere. And I have been listening to nothing but a happier playlist, and it's a playlist I made just for me, and I labeled it Music for Your Best Self. Or I'm sorry, I labeled it Healthy Music for Yourself. I don't know if you can see it whatsoever, but I've got Bob Marley on here. I have Queen Herbie, a couple Ariana Grande songs that are really positive, and then other small, well, I don't know if I want to say small, but independent artists that you don't really hear around, and that's all I've been listening to. I don't have on my liked songs from my Spotify. Anytime I'm in my car, or anytime I'm listening to music, really, even if I go on a walk, I've just been putting those type of songs on, happier, more positive songs that have affirmations or just overall feel good stories in it. And now, instead of depressing lyrics being in my head all day, it's this stuff that is in a way affirmations. And now that's all that's stuck in my head, and it's it rearranged the chemical work of my cells. And I just feel so good. And aside from those things, I mean, I'm naturally already a meditator, but I've been specifically doing a heart coherence meditation that's based on Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've been doing that every morning. And then even the other day, I actually was taking a walk, and I was able to get into the meditation without her help, like on the bench over here. And like I could feel my body like being extremely relaxed, and like I was like swaying. And has that happened with anybody on here? Like your body just like starts to move on its own. I guess it's called like the Kundalini effect. It's just where like your body is just going into a different state of relaxation. And I've also gotten to the point where my body just straight up is like rotating in a fast circle, and I promise like I'm not doing it. Like it's just my body. Well, right now I'm doing it to demonstrate, but I love when that happens, you know. Not that there needs to be a certain goal you have to reach, or you have to have an out-of-body experience every single time you meditate. That's not really the point of it, but I love when it happens. Also, what is so cool and ironic about all of this is, I mean, I naturally see angel numbers a lot, but this week I've been seeing them so frequently. And, you know, say what you want about angel numbers, but I've been seeing them so much. And the last time I saw a bunch of angel numbers like this was when it wasn't that long before I was offered to come to Los Angeles and try it out. And specifically, I've been seeing 777 and 999. I saw 777 probably like 6 times in the past 48 hours. And I know it can be difficult to like genuinely look these up. I've heard look them up. Okay, one piece of advice I've heard is look up the angel number and just see whatever definition pops out to you the most or feels like it resonates with the most. And then I've also heard to not always focus so much on finding like the meaning, like Google's specific meaning, but take note on like what you were doing and how you were feeling. And the thing is, the basic definition of 777 is it represents luck. Like luck is on your side and you have more opportunities coming to you. But when you look into I don't think I took a screenshot of it, but when I looked into a more in-depth version, you tend to see, apparently, you see this number a lot when you are having a deeper connection with your intuition and you are more aligned with a higher version of consciousness. And that's definitely what I've been feeling. And like the best way to articulate it, I feel just more aligned with, I kind of have mixed feelings about like your best or your highest self. I feel like your highest self, it's always with you. It's more of just a matter of doing things or quitting certain things to feel more aligned with it and closer to it, you know? I mean, because your highest self, but and your worst self in a way, I mean, they both kind of work with you, but it's more of we want to try to stay more aligned with our highest or just our best self. Because I've also heard you don't need to raise your vibration in order to do this and this. But then again, that's also what we hear all the time in the spiritual community is raise your vibration, work on your highest self. Like there always seems to be work needing to be done. And I know in a way that can kind of feel pressuring, like, oh, more work. But in this sense, it didn't feel like I necessarily had to force myself to do work. It was natural work that I felt called to do, and it felt good to do, you know? It's like, okay, in the basic 3D world, your best self is like skinny and eats nothing but green foods and is always eating healthy and like does Pilates and all of that. But I think it comes to a point where it's like, are you doing all these things because that's what you genuinely feel called and it feels best for you? Or are you just doing that because it seems to be a trend and everyone else is doing it, so you feel like you should be doing it? Because then ultimately that's not really your highest version talking to you. That's the 3D world trying to influence you. And, you know, if you do those things, I mean, I think that's great, but I just feel like, you know, if it feels forceful, then that's not really your intuition or your highest self. That's just the influence from the world around you. And for me, I have definitely felt that pressure to like do certain things because that just seems like the healthy thing to do. But in this sense, it actually felt aligned with my personal best self. And my best self in a way has always been there. I've just always been distracted. And, you know, I'm still so young, and I'm aware I'm still in the midst of a human experience, so I'm aware I'm not always going to feel like this. But the point is now I know that what my best self actually feels like, and I always have access to it. And you always have access to it. So, in a way, I'm not necessarily trying to tell you what to do. I'm not here to say, like, stop eating this, stop eating this. I mean, whatever just feels good to you, then follow that. But I just wanted to share about what I personally have done and how it's made me feel. I just feel like, I don't want to say I can conquer the world, but I just feel on top of my own world. I feel flowy. I feel naturally magnetic. And I just have this feeling that, like, even better opportunities are around the corner and they're coming to me. And one of the best pieces of, I don't know if I want to say advice, but one of the best messages that I've heard recently that felt so good to me was, you don't have to do anything to attract what's meant for you. And I know that can be confusing because some people say, well, take inspired action. Or some people say you got to work towards it. And ultimately the word work is what kind of drives you away from it. But whatever is meant for you is something that is going to naturally feel good to you, right? So I always like the term inspired action because you take this action because you feel inspired, because you feel pulled to it. You know, like from such a young age, I always loved watching the special features in on a movie because I loved watching how they created the magic, whether it was live action, like with actual actors, or if it was animated with nothing but voice actors. Like, I just felt called to be there. And I would look into, okay, how do I get here? How do I get here? Like, at first I wanted to be a camera operator because I just wanted to be involved. Or at first I looked into, how do I be the person that gets to move the little clay, like Coraline? I used to watch behind the scenes of Coraline and watch like the stop motion animation, how it would work. And I'd be like, how do I get there? Like, that was me taking inspired action. You know, like, if it was more like oh my God, that looks so fun, but like, what do I have to do to get there? Oh, I have to do all that? I gotta do all that? Well, then, if I felt that way, then it wouldn't be meant for me. But I'm excited to do those things. I'm excited to take classes. I'm excited to be doing this and this. And yeah, I feel like that's like a whole separate conversation, but in a way, I mean, it just came out of me because in a way it just feels aligned to talk about it. And I just feel so flowy, and I just want everyone else to feel so good and flowy. And like, I just naturally, like, in a way, it's not like I've never been an unapproachable person. I mean, maybe, but like now, like my desire for, okay, in a way, I feel like 10 times more lovable. Like, I feel more loving. So yeah, I feel good, and I always want to feel like this, but I don't want it to be in a way where it's forceful. And yeah, like, I just feel great, and I want everyone else around me to feel this way too. So, I mean, if you have been feeling called to, like, even if you're just eating certain foods that taste so good, but you know that you should quit, or you know you should stop, that is your intuition talking to you. That is your intuition, your highest self, you know, whatever you want to call it. That is another version of you talking to you. Something else that I noticed was I've had moments throughout the day today where I noticed that my mind was trying to like bring up like past arguments or past conversations to try to pull me away from the feel-good present moment. And it's weird because like it would distract me for a minute, but then it's almost like I went into that meditative state again. And this is, again, a great benefit of meditation because it ultimately brings you back to that awareness that you are seriously not your body and you're not your thoughts. You are literally just the consciousness that is behind all of this. Because it's like the moment we die, you know, something leaves and then the body just relaxes, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, it's so cool and fascinating. This is where like the obvious effects of meditation come in, because then even in your waking life, like at school or at work or really just out in public, you can notice your mind trying to bring up old patterns. But then you're aware of it, like, okay, my mind is trying to bring up a past argument, or oh, I notice my mind's trying to distract me right now. Then you just breathe. Well, that's not happening right now. And then you're back. And again, I'm not like perfect. I'm not trying to say I'm a Zen master, but I just really noticed that work, the inner work I've been doing, is truly showing. And I'm so proud of myself for it. And again, nearly, I think the entire time you're alive, you're always going to be practicing. And then it just like slowly becomes easier and easier, and life just seems to happen through you. And it just gets to that point where nothing really affects you that much. And you just get into this state of full-on trust. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I don't feel like I'm in a rush for anything. Like, I'm excited for things to happen, but it's not like I'm in this FOMO type of state, you know? And it just feels so good, and I want you to feel like this too. So, take this as a sign to please look into meditation. If there's a book that you noticed on a bookshelf talking about law of attraction or universal laws, and it piqued your interest, this is your sign to go back to that store, go buy it. If you feel called to take a break from eating this one certain food or consuming this certain substance, that is something trying to talk to you. Because I just want everyone to feel like this. I feel so good, and I have been for like the past week. And I can feel like part of me trying to like hold on to it, but I also am learning to just go with the flow. I'm aware that it's going to be disrupted here and there, but I know it's always there and I can come back to it. If any of you want some song recommendations, let me go back. I even downloaded some Bratz music. A song that I think is like a good balance between like loving yourself but also being aware that you're human and it's okay to feel everything. It's called Peppers and Onions by Tierra. I feel like she's such an underrated artist. I like never hear about her, but Tierra, I love her song Peppers and Onions. I also like her song Fruit Salad. Chris-n-teeb, they make nothing but like positive affirmation type of music, but it's like really jammy, like you could dance to it. The song I've always had on repeat the most is What Wants Me by s.i.a.t. It stands for Stuck in a Tree, but it's by the artist Stuck in a Tree and Moonlight, Scorpio. What Wants Me. I love it so much, and yeah, even just listening to these high vibe type of music has just really puts me in a good mood, and now that's all I have on in the background of anything. And that's all I want to listen to. Thank you for listening and joining me. Don't be afraid to go into this state of mind. I know many people may try to tell you to not be too happy, or your mind is going to give you reasons why you shouldn't be in this state, but it feels so good. And I seriously recommend you, please, to try to listen to your intuition and detox from things that you know you should detox from. And you deserve to feel good, because joy is your birthright. Joy is everyone's birthright. And somehow we ended up just kind of getting lost. And I'm doing my own personal inner work to, in a way, get out of the matrix. And we're in this together. So, with that being said, thank you for watching, and you have a great life.